Thank you, Mr. President. My presentation will be somewhat succinct this evening because we've discussed the topic ad nauseum over the course of the last several months. But I would just share as an overarching review that this has been a long process. We've been talking about strategic plans since September of 2022. We've had a lot of robust conversations where we've gotten into the weeds and really parsed out a lot of the specific details included, not only with strategic plan 2, but with the first phase of this work. And for a listening audience to know also and hear that I have individual conversations with board members on a pretty regular basis. And we talk through any questions that they might be hearing from the community. There's very good dialogue, good back and forth. And in many instances, when a question is raised that may not have been considered, I will take the time to have follow-up conversations with other board members so that they are privy to that information as well. And in many instances, similar to what I did this evening, I will take some time to share a question that may have been shared that others have not had the privilege of hearing. So with that, Mr. President, this evening we are asking the Board of Education to consider approving the recommendation of the Strategic Plan 2.0 Committee as presented.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Yes. Yes, I'd like to make the motion that our board approve as presented, our strategic plan 2.0.
Do I have a second?
I'd like to support that.
Motion made by Member Cotter, seconded by Member Pastana. I'd like to open it up now for discussion. Any comments or discussion? Yes, Mr. Bennett.
Oh, I get the privilege of kicking it off. So some of you know me, my Jacob Dimmick. I ran for school board a year and a half or so ago, and I've been on the board for a year now. This is rounding it off. And I came in here really to shake things up. I thought there was a lot of issues, and much to my chagrin, I get here and everything we've been a very cohesive unit working together. I was welcomed very heartily, and I've been brought up to speed in the way of training and everything else. So I'm happy to say that while I do listen to everything I hear from the community, and I do have open dialogues with Jeffrey, Tom, Paul, whether it's sending emails, asking questions, and then getting that information back to the people who brought it to me in one fashion or another. So, but I haven't come across anything that I found significant enough that would change my opinion about where we're headed. I feel like we're headed in the right direction and we're doing the right things. So with that, that's it.
Thank you. Member Cotter and then
I got to go now before I lose my voice. I've got 3 comments of this. One of it is that I live in the village of Milford, and I see those Muir kids coming downtown to go shopping or using the park. And by moving or closing a Muir school, we may lose some of that. But it came up in conversation that students that are on the campus site up here at Milford, that every day 3 or 4 buses go right down the road into the village. So there's always the availability of a bus pass, and anybody can hitch a ride to town, which would still make our town very accessible to all of our students. Likewise, there's really a small amount of our students within the village that actually walk to our Muir school. And in fact, my neighbors, they walk down to the corner to catch a bus because we're right on the borderline. Technically, my people across the street don't get a bus ride, but the ones behind me do. So they also catch a ride to Muir. Likewise, when we look at a town school, and I'm coming back many years ago because of my commitment to Baker School at the time, and working with our Muir kids back then, it was nice having that closeness or that community of a little campus. But the truth of the matter is, during the summer, Muir's closed, and it's closed during the holidays, and George Street is like a ghost town. So I think the advantage of keeping our students in the village, I don't think it's going to pay back to us of what else is, moving forward. So the second part I'd like to comment on is, in my heart, I'm an educator, and I'm here because I want to do what's right for Huron Valley. And when I look at the advantages that we can provide for instructions and opportunities for our kids moving from now into the future by creating a campus, I mean, I think that would be the strongest support that we could give our kids. And I fully support that. There's so many opportunities about having our middle school kids being able to walk to the high school to grab one AP class that they might want to have. I mean, otherwise something like that wouldn't exist. So I feel strongly about the instructional opportunities that we could create by having a new middle school on the Milford High campus. Likewise, Muir was built many, many years ago, and a new school being built in around the year 2026 has to provide more and better opportunities for our kids moving forward. It just puts me in a good place to know that what we're moving.
My kids' middle school. I have 4 children. Just an emotional day. And all 4 of my children have attended Oak Valley. It is a wonderful school, full of amazing human beings. I own a piece of the Oak Valley old basketball gym floor. Yes, Mr. Heron had a wonderful fundraiser, $20. You too could own a piece of the floor. I own a piece. But I'm going to tell you, my boys don't care about that piece of the floor. Do you know what they care about? They care about that Mr. Heron came to my son's last regional race. That's what they cared about. They cared about Mrs. Luke's taking their senior pictures. They cared about the fact that Mr. Schindorf knew who my daughter was because he had her 3 brothers before him. They cared about the fact that Mr. Brown recruited our daughter for cross country. Those were the things those were the pieces of information they wanted to know about what was going on with Oak Valley. They wanted to know what were going to happen to the teachers. That's what they cared about. Because for them, that was Oak Valley. It wasn't a building. It wasn't the brick and mortar. It was the people who occupied the building. It was that culture. I know that when our Oak Valley teachers go to White Lake and Muir, they will be taking that Oak Valley culture with them. But White Lake and Muir will no longer be White Lake and Muir. They will be something different because we will have to combine those 2 cultures. And that's important. It's important because we will actually have almost like 2 new middle schools. I was in the room for the task force that we did back in 2022. I was in the room when we had building futures in 2018, 2019. I was in the room for strategic planning 1.0 and strategic planning 2.0. I listened to the community input that we received. Our community was well represented in all of those different subgroups. The people in the room were much more intelligent than I am. They ask really great questions. They posed the challenges, and as Dr. Salah likes to say, the problematities. I didn't say that right, but they talked about those things. They worked through them, and I listened. And it was humbling to know that these folks were engaged in a way that I don't think many people realize the dedication that it required of them. We have some of those folks in the room tonight. Thank you. Thank you for taking time away from your family, getting off of work and running to Milford generally to make those meetings, it was powerful. It showed your dedication to the students of this community, and I appreciate that. And I also want to say thank you. A lot of people have said this has been a rushed decision. This has not been a rushed decision. I think it belittles a bit of what went on in all of those committees. It belittles the work that the people who are sitting here tonight did. These were good conversations. And I want you to know that we ask questions afterwards, during, before. And it was exciting to see that we weren't just brushed off for our questions. They were answered. They were answered in thoughtful ways. None of us have a crystal ball. None of us can tell you what's going to happen in 2050. I mean, let's be honest. I read the Bible. Bible says we're not promised another day. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, I know what our students want, but I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we are doing the very best we can with the data that we have. And I appreciate the fact that Plant Moran Cressa is here with us tonight. Wait, that's not right. They have a new name. Real Point, sorry. I appreciate the fact that they're here today, but I would not be the board member that I was elected to be if I didn't double check their numbers. Interestingly enough, SEMCOG came out with their 2050 projections. And wouldn't you know it, Plant Moran was Real Point right on target. Paul, I was very impressed with those numbers because they said the same thing. They said the same thing about where our district is going. So I have all the data in front of me. I have the intelligence of the people in the committees, and I see what they're saying. My Oak Valley mama heart, this is a hard decision for me. But like Lindsay, I know that at the end of the day, I have to put what's best for our kids first. And I know that at the end of the day, having two campuses where they can work collaboratively, not only with the high school, but with the elementary school, that it's that whole, reciprocity, that reciprocal relationships to give to the elementary schools and really to receive from the high schools. To me, those benefits they outweigh my sentimentality. So those are my comments for tonight, Mr. Wiseman.
Thank you very much, Member Grisomkowski. Member Pastana?
Boys, can be hard to follow, Lindsay and Amy, but I just wrote a few things down. So I too have been a member of the Oak Valley community since 2007 when my son entered the school. And since then, I've been lucky enough to be in that building at least once a week since 2007. And when he was there were almost 800 students there. Today, there's about 400 students. And I know that the robust team teaching that he got to experience and other students was so good for them. And I feel like it was a great transition for sixth graders coming in to have that. They're missing that opportunity now, that they just can't do it. So I feel like the strategic plan allows greater opportunities for our middle school students. We get to focus on innovative programming, and students will be ready to compete and do things to develop their interests, things that they really want to do that they don't have the opportunity to do now. Like Amy, I mean, my heart is at Oak Valley, but change is difficult, but it's worth it. It's worth it if we know that it's going to be the right thing. So I found this quote, and it made me think about the decisions that we make at the board table. And so it's from a Greek proverb, and it says, "A society grows great when men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in." So for those reasons, I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not good with my
Mariah.
words here, but everything that everyone said is, how I feel too. And like you guys, my kids actually went to Muir, so my heart is there too. But it's a hard decision, but just thank everyone for being on the strategic planning committees. Like Amy said, there are a lot of really good questions. Thank Dr. Salah. He's answered and been on the phone with me a lot. So I appreciate all the time. And, I think this is an amazing opportunity for our kids. So I also plan to support it.
Your turn.
Thank you. I think I don't want to repeat what everyone said. I think it's important to listen to your colleagues and then try to say something that hasn't been said. So I'm going to do that. The thing that I appreciate about this process that has helped me really come along with is that it was a very clear, first we have to do 1, then 2, then 3. And I think when anyone comes in the middle of the process and looks at it, they may wonder, why are we on 3? Why didn't we start with 1 where we did? We started with 1, but it's taken a long time, to be honest with you. Many of us forget that 1 was a while ago. And but it has been very clear and very deliberate as we've gone through this. And I would never want just the 8 of us at this table, along with the 4 members of COAT, to make this decision by ourselves. And I'm so grateful, like we've said, for everyone who's come and sat on the committees, but also the people who've reached out. I know all of us have had phone calls and emails, and I had one conversation that the next day the guy said to me, I hope that wasn't weird. But it's good. Those are the conversations we have to really get some clarity around our ability to make decisions that are going to move our community forward. I know I don't want to make that decision alone, and I'm grateful for the 8 folks here, the 4 here, and then this wonderful community that's come together. Everyone may not agree, but I hope everyone will agree that we need to continue to build futures one student at a time. We need to continue to offer a safe and productive environment for these students. We need to offer the best education they possibly can get. And through the entire process, we've seen that that's really at the heart of this, is building a community and really building futures in our physical plants that make sense for us going forward. They've served us very well. They've served our communities very well and our children very well. And now it's time to build that thing that's going to serve the children of the future very well. I think that's it for me. I feel pretty good about this, and I'm really grateful for the people who've come along on this with us to help really make sense out of something that can be monumental.
Thank you very much for your comments. Strategically, I'm last to speak. And the reason why it's strategic is because I remember a board member, after there was a dialogue similar to this, all they said was ditto. So I'm going to say ditto to you, 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 and ditto to you. And ditto to the entire community, because all I can say is you're absolutely right. This isn't rushed. This goes back to our Buildings Future group in 2018, and we talk constantly of providing a bright future for all students that incorporates opportunities for all students in a wise, fiduciarily responsible fashion, in recognizing that this district needs to provide those quality opportunities for our kids and to be competitive with all the districts that surround us. This is a framework to do that, in my opinion. It's really a framework for us to continue to move forward. Your quote was absolutely correct. It's really building that future, one student at a time, but not just for next year, but for years to come. And the opportunities that we're going to see, I believe, are just enormous. Things that we can't even envision that's going to happen. And to have a district that's going to basically have 2 secondary campuses to provide opportunities for our kids is absolutely enormous. Not only to attract and retain those professionals that you were talking about, Amy, but to create an environment that really grows and creates that branding of what's special about Huron Valley. We are a very special place. And our facilities, we're not a mortar and brick school district, but we recognize that mortar and brick provides the opportunities for our kids because it provides the teaching stations in the environment. And it also reflects on the community's values as a whole. And I'm really excited about this. And at the same time, I think it's really important. What I really appreciate under Dr. Salah's leadership and our team of 8 and our COAT team and everybody else is involved is that it really is a building block process. We started a foundation back in 2018 with the Building Futures. We recognized that we're coming out of the COVID, so we had a task force that was focused on social emotional learning in 21st century, and we're already 25 years into the 21st century, learning and how learning for our students now and into the future is drastically different than what any of us have experienced. And we have to create flexible spaces for our students because you know what? We don't know what it's going to look like 5 years from now, but we need to create those spaces. And I think this really provides that opportunity to do that. At the same time, it really goes from our task force to developing this strategic plan. That's a 5-year strategic plan that really focuses on a number of highlights that are extraordinarily important. And we all have been involved in strategic plans where, unfortunately, they're done by maybe a small group, which we certainly weren't, and it kind of goes over into the corner. This is a living, breathing document. When you look at this and you talk about goal 1, innovative programming, 2, resources and infrastructure, 3, marketing and communication, 4, social emotional support, 5, safety and security. What we're talking about right here, while we focused on 2 of these, this decision that we're making tonight, in my opinion, really focuses on all of these things because it's all incorporated within this. So it's extraordinarily important because this is a living, breathing document that represents the hard work of a lot of different people. And then I commend our team to taking 2 of them and recognizing infrastructure isn't just one silo. That infrastructure really provides the opportunities for innovative programming. And that's what this is all about. And is it dollar and cents? I'm a CPA. Of course I'm going to look at dollar and cents, but there's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than just dollars and cents. It really boils down to opportunities. Am I physically conservative? Absolutely. I think it's extraordinarily important to be able to do this in a package that our citizens can afford. And a no tax rate increase is extraordinarily important to me as a senior, to me as a taxpayer, and to me as one of 8 people sitting up here. So I commend everyone as it relates to this. This is not a rush decision. This is an opportunity for us to move forward, but it's something that's been in the works for several years. I'm really excited about it. And I do commend our team. I do commend Paul with Plant Moran Real Point because they played a critical role in this to give us the data to make it happen. I want to applaud our team from Clark, our team from TMP, because they've been totally involved and immersed into this because this is really to move this district forward. And you know what? This is a turning point in many ways for this district. And I'm just very excited about this. I know people might have differences of opinion, but the differences of opinions that I've heard isn't anything contrary to what's in the best interest of our kids. All right, that's the vision. The how might be a little bit different, and we might choose to agree to disagree. But I feel very good about our community supporting this and recognizing that maybe, you know what, everything in here isn't exactly what I'd want as an individual, but for the greater good and to provide opportunities for kids, it just makes sense. It just makes sense from my point of view. And with that, I supported us. So I said I wasn't going to say much, but once I get going, I said too much.
That was a long ditto.
That was a ditto with 15 T's in it. Okay. So Can you imagine if I didn't say ditto before? I'd still be going right now. I'm still going. So with that, is there any other comments? With that, we have a motion, correct? And we have a second. So with that, could I have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Ms. Cotter,
For sure, yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Grisomkowski,
Yes.
Ms. Dodd,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Dimick,
Yes.
and Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Next on the agenda is the